Welcome everyone to another therapeutic yoga class. Today's class, we are going to be working on our hip flexors. So what exactly are hip flexors? Let's kind of start with that super quick. Basically, a hip flexor is any muscle that bends up your hip. It's as simple as that. You have four main hip flexors, and that's what we're going to be targeting in today's class. There are a couple of other muscles around the front of the hip joint that do provide the action of bending up that hip, but we're going to be targeting the four main ones. Now, of those four main ones, you have two that drive a lot of dysfunction and problems with your low back and your pelvis. They are called the psoas, P-S-O-A-S, and iliacus, I-L-I-A-C-U-S. So one that comes up and attaches straight up to the front of your spine. The other one comes in and actually attaches inside your pelvis. Then you have two others that are attached external to the pelvis, and those are the rectus femoris, which runs straight up the front of your leg, creates tremendous amounts of pelvic, hip, and knee dysfunction when too tight or too weak. And also what is called your tensor fascia lata, really big word, I know, but it is the hip flexor that lays on the outside and to the front of the pelvic bone and is one of the primary muscles that attaches to the IT band. So for those of us that have outer hip pain and outer knee pain, that is our hip flexor of interest. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be tackling all four of those muscles. So what you're going to need for class is pretty simple: your yoga mat and a yoga bolster or something similar to it, and a yoga strap. Now, what I'd like you to do with your yoga strap, if you're using a yoga strap, is go ahead and set it up in a lasso position right now before we start class so that you're not going to have to be fumbling around and trying to figure out how to do that later. So if you got a D-ring or a cinch strap on your yoga strap, just go ahead and place the cinch or the D-ring so that you've made yourself a tiny little lasso. Then once you have that, place it somewhere down next to your yoga strap so you'll be able just to grab that lasso and you'll be ready to rock and roll when we're targeting that rectus femoris muscle. Now, if you don't have a yoga strap and you're using something that has a loop in it, like a belt or a dog strap or something like that, just use wherever that loop is. Okay, so let's get started with our class. Find yourself in a seated position. As you're finding yourself in a seated position, place yourself in easy pose. Now, using the bolster helps us get out of deep hip flexion. So if we do have problems with our hip flexors, it is a good position for us to start in to really not have ourselves trying to put too much compression on those muscles. So while you're in that position, allow yourself to place your hands on your thighs. Allow yourself to roll your pelvis all the way forward. So stick your belly out. And as you put yourself in that position, your low back arches. Feel if you literally feel any sort of tension in the front of your hip. Because sometimes these muscles aren't just tight, they actually lose their ability to fold and bend because they're too tense. So, if you touch through there, do you feel any sort of tension? Hopefully we can get rid of that by the end of class. Then allow yourself one time just to roll your pelvis all the way back. Kind of sit slumped or onto your sit bone. Behind your sit bones and onto your tailbone. Then roll yourself all the way up. See if you can find that point that you're actually sitting on those sit bones. Sit nice and tall, and then gently from those hip joints, just hinge just a tiny bit forward until you feel that weight go down into your feet. All right, take shoulder blades and place them back and down. Now, if you have some difficulties with shoulders or some insufficient posture of the front of your body and your upper body, do this nice, easy thing with me. Take your hands and put them in a tray position. Shorten your upper trapezius. So just shrug those shoulders up for a second. Rotate the arms out. And now pull those shoulder blades back and down. You'll get them down further when you do that. Squeeze between the shoulder blades and just place those hands onto your thighs. Lengthen your neck. Settle your chin. Place your tongue into the roof of your mouth. That's its resting position. And take a minute here just to close your eyes. Now, as you're in that position, just to begin class, we're going to do just a couple of nice, slow and deep diaphragmatic breaths to start to just rest and get ourselves in a position that we're ready to work on these hip flexors. So take a nice, slow, deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice, slow, deep inhale into the hip flexors. All the way down there. Take that belly all the way down. And exhaling out. Very nice. Now, gently allow yourself to take your left hand, place it on the floor next to your yoga bolster. In that position, take your right leg and slide it straight on out down to the top corner of one of the corners of your mat. So you're kind of like in a leaning position up and over that left arm. Roll your right shoulder back and down. Lengthen your right leg away from you. All right. Right arm. Take a nice deep inhale, lift it up, and as you exhale, side bend over. Now let your left elbow bend a little bit, but don't bend it so much that you lose stability through that side of your body. All I want you to do is see if you can get that length right here through that low back and that hip area. Lengthen the leg a little bit more if you need to. Reach the arm a little bit more up or rotate the body a little bit so that the armpit is facing up towards the ceiling. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. You've got it. Inhale, lift yourself up. And then as you exhale, drop that right hand down. Take that right leg in. So place the right hand down on the side of the bolster. Once you've got it there, take that left leg out and bring it down towards one of the corners of your mat. Position yourself in that position. Take that left hand out to the side of your body. Nice deep inhale, lift up. And then as you exhale, side bend over. Now imagine getting the length right from that hip joint all the way to the tips of your fingers. And from that hip joint, lengthen that leg out. You've got it. Now, a couple things you can do here. Maybe what you need to do is to rotate your body a little bit more to find that length in that low back and that hip area. Take a deep inhale into your belly here. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now, inhale, lifting the arm up. And then as you exhale, drop it down and bring that left leg in. Okay, so turn yourself over onto your hands and knees, but don't get rid of your bolster. We're not done using that. Just gently move your bolster out of your way. And once you get yourself there, find yourself in hands and knees. Take your fist between those hips. Make sure that you're getting hip distance between those hips and knees. Look straight back behind your knees, checking that you don't see your feet or your ankles so that the feet are lined up with the knees, and then stack the hips directly on top of the knees. Wrists and elbows, bring them underneath the shoulders, index fingers forward, thumbs spread nice and inward. All right, let's go through 3 cat-cows here. So take an inhale, sink your belly. Lift that tailbone nice and high, drop that rib cage, lengthen through the front of the neck and look upward. Then as you exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone under, curl that shoulder blade, spread the shoulder blades, chin to chest, gaze into the belly button. 2 more times here. Inhale, sink in the belly, lifting the tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, really lengthen up through that neck and gaze upward. And then as you exhale, starting to push with those arms, tucking that belly in, tucking that tailbone under, curling that rib cage, chin to chest, gaze into the belly button. One more time, inhaling. Now, as you inhale, just imagine trying to make the front of your body longer. And then as you exhale, keep the exhale going through the movement. How would you make the back of your body longer? Now stay right there in your cat pose. Slowly use the strength of your arms. Settle your sit bones down to your heels. Rest your belly down onto your thighs, chest down onto the knees. Slowly bend the elbows and bring the crown of the head down onto the floor. Gaze straight back. Look straight back between those knees at those toes. Make sure they're not falling together. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. One more breath, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Now, slowly bring yourself up. We're going to be doing a little bit of kneeling here. So if you've got sensitive knees, what I would suggest that you do, either have a good knee pad around or double your yoga mat, or better yet, if you want to, triple your yoga mat, so that all you're doing is increasing the density of the foam of the mat that's sitting underneath your knee. Once you've got yourself in that position, place your right knee on that double, triple yoga mat, grab that bolster and hold it into your left hand, and then step that left leg forward. If the left leg forward is not on the yoga mat, do not worry whatsoever, because we've got the bolster for our balance. All right, now in this position, check in that your right hip stacks directly on top of that right knee. Then take a look back behind you and make sure that your foot is lined straight up with that knee. We're going to play with that today, but the first stretch we're going to do, we're going to have that knee straight in alignment. Then allow yourself to place your right hand onto your hip, onto the pelvis area. Make sure that your left leg is forward enough that you don't feel yourself wobbling. Then in this position, take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Now, as you tuck the tailbone under, make sure that your back doesn't fall backwards. So lean your shoulders slightly over that left leg. Keep that tailbone tuck under. Feel that stretching through the front of the hip flexor. Okay, hold it there. Give me a nice deep inhale and an exhale. One more time, nice deep inhale and an exhale. You've got it. Now release the tuck of the tailbone, but don't move your body. Now, here's what's really interesting about doing this beautiful stretch, kind of a variation of crescent pose in yoga. If we move our foot, we can allow ourselves to put a little bit more tension on one of those hip flexors versus the other. So I want you to try this with me. Take your foot, knee stays where it is, take your foot and turn your foot more outward. So what that's doing to your leg bone is it's turning it into internal rotation. As you do that, make sure that your pelvis stays pointed perfectly forward, hips stay stacked perfectly on top of that knee. Now in this position, nothing changes. Take a deep inhale, and then on the exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Can you see how you can feel that stretch more if one muscle is tighter? Hold it there. Give me a nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Relax the tuck of the tailbone. Now, preferentially the other hip flexors. What if instead of having the foot out, instead of having the foot in alignment, you take the foot inward? Now, be careful with this one, because a lot of us, when we take our foot inward, our pelvis rotates outward. So take your pelvis and rotate it back forward. Then in this position, hand on the pelvis, nothing else changes. Take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Holding there, take a deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. One more breath, nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Beautiful. Release the tension of the pelvis, unrotate that hip joint. Now, for you, you can just drop the left knee down, pull the right knee up. I'm going to turn myself around so that you see my left hip in front of me. So you do what works best for you. I am going to do a 180 degrees, double, triple my yoga mat again, and we will do that left side. As you get yourself with your left knee down and your right knee up, again, use the bolster for balance. You've got it. You might as well use it, right? Then line the hip directly up on top of the knee. Look straight back and line up that foot with the knee and the hip. Once you have yourself there, right knee, just have it somewhere that you don't feel like you're wobbling any. And then take the left hand up onto the pelvis so that you can actually palpate and feel that pelvic movement. Okay, now in this position, make sure that your rib cage isn't behind you. So have your rib cage slightly forward. Take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Feel that stretch to the front of the hip. It may even go down the thigh if that rectus femoris muscle is the muscle that's tight. All right, holding yourself right here, take a deep inhale in and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Beautiful. Untuck the tailbone. Don't move the body. Now let's just change the rotation of the hip to be a little bit more preferential to one group of muscles versus the other. So look at your leg, take your foot and turn your foot to the edge of the mat. As you do that, make sure that the pelvis stays pointed forward. Hand is back up on that pelvic bone. Everything else stays the same. Take a nice deep inhale in. And as you exhale, tuck that tailbone under, holding there for 2 breaths. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Release the tuck of the tailbone. Unrotate that leg from being an internal rotation. Now let's take it to external rotation. So remember, this one's a little tricky because sometimes the pelvis likes to go with the hip. But take the leg and turn the leg inward to the opposite side of the mat. If your pelvis rotates outward, consciously take your pelvis and rotate it back forward. Hip still is in a line with the knee. Hand is up on the pelvis, right leg and bolster are keeping you balanced. Last time here, take a nice deep inhale. Then on the exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Yeah, hold it there. 2 breaths. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. You've got it. One more breath. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Release the tuck of that tailbone. Unrotate that leg. Now, here's what I want you to do. Just gently place your bolster. We're going to be using it again in a minute. Bring yourself back down onto hands and knees. If you had your yoga mat folded upward, go ahead and unfold the yoga mat. Once you're there, place yourself back in your hands and knees. Let's go through those cat cows again and get that nice good folding of the hips. So knees are hip distance. Hips are stacked on top of the knees. You know where the feet and the ankles need to be. You know where the wrists and the elbows need to be. Check in that those index fingers are forward, thumbs are in. Let's go through 3 cat cows here. So inhale, sink that belly, squeeze those shoulder blades together, really lift that tailbone and gaze upward. Then as you exhale, pull that abdomen up and in. Use those abdominal muscles, really tuck that tailbone under, lengthen the back of the neck, tuck the chin into the chest and look in there. All right, 2 more times. Inhale, sinking downward, allowing yourself to find that length in the front of the body, but you are folding the hip flexors here. Then as you exhale, tucking under. Very last time, inhaling and sinking. And then exhaling and curling under. Good. Stay in your angry cat. Push yourself back into your child's pose. The good news is we're done with our knees. For those of you that don't like being on your knees, are done with it. Sit your sit bones back to your heels, chest down onto the knees, crown of the head back down onto the floor. Gaze at those feet again. Make sure you don't lose the alignment of the lower half of your body. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. And slow exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Now, very slowly bring yourself up out of your child's pose. Take that bolster and place the bolster midpoint or so on your yoga mat. Once you've got yourself there, take your left pelvis, your left leg, come straight up onto that yoga bolster. We're going to go into an inversion, but we're going to have our entire leg and our pelvis up onto the bolster. It's going to allow us to really tackle that TFL muscle, ladies and gentlemen. So as you get yourself in that position, knees are stacked, ankles are stacked, slowly allow yourself to come down onto your left elbow, left shoulder, slowly dropping the head down onto the floor. Now, once you get into this position, you can kind of feel, okay, does my waistband of my pants feel like it's at the upper part of that bolster? If so, you're in a good position. Now, what I want you to do in this position is allow yourself to hold that bottom leg. So I don't want you to slide forward or backward off of that bolster while we're tackling this beautiful right tensor fasciae lata muscle. So just gently hold that left leg with your right hand. In that position, then take an inhale. And on the inhale, kick the right leg out. And then on the exhale, drop that right foot down. Now, I know you feel that in the outside of the hip. If you've got tight back muscles, I guarantee you're also feeling that in the low back area. Now, today, it's a little bit more about our hip flexors than our back. However, we're doing marvelous work for our low back here. In this position, keeping your foot downward onto the floor or as close to the floor as you can get, I want you to feel that stretch in the front outside of your hip. And then I want you to play with two things. One, do you feel that stretch more if you start to slide your leg back a little bit? Two, do you feel that stretch more if you try to use your abdominals and tuck your tailbone under? All right. So you do one of those things or two of those things like I am doing. Hold yourself right here. Keep pushing that heel downward onto the mat. That's what's opening up through that hip joint. As your right hand is holding that left leg, hopefully you're not rotating yourself backwards, but check in that your pelvis is in a neutral position. Let's do 3 really good deep diaphragmatic breaths here. So nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Slow deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. One more time, deep inhale into the belly and exhale out. You've got it. Alrighty, one last thing to do here before we meet. I just want you to play with this. Can you, in this position where your leg is, use your hamstrings and slowly bend your knee a little bit and try not to let that knee lift up towards the ceiling? So as you do that, you're focusing on dropping the knee towards the yoga mat, but you're bending the knee all at the same time, finding that fourth hip flexor, rectus femoris, with a little bit of a stretch there. All right, I promise, just 2 breaths in this position. Deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Nice, guys. Slowly straighten that knee. Take an inhale, lift that leg up in the air. Exhale, pull that knee up into the chest. Oh, give that outer hip and that low back a break in this position. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to flip ourselves over to the opposite side. So I'm going to sit myself up and rotate. I think it's the easiest, but if you wanted to, you could do some crazy maneuvering just to do a 180 degree and lay yourself onto your right pelvis and leg. So if you're going to do what I'm going to do, right hand on the floor, left elbow, push it down onto the floor, take a deep inhale and push yourself up. Simply take your feet and do a 180 so that now you've got your right pelvis sitting on that bolster. Then once you have yourself there, leg bones on the bolster, knee stacked, ankle stacked, slowly drop yourself down onto your right elbow, right shoulder, right head. And you're in your inversion with the pelvis elevated in the air. Okay, so same thing we did on the opposite side. Take that upper hand, that left hand now, and hold that right leg so that you know that you're not going to do any crazy rotation with your trunk. Let's find those hip flexors. So take a nice deep inhale, lift that leg up in the air, and as you exhale, drop that leg down. Now you should already feel some lengthening. That might be as much as you can do. Heck, maybe what you're working on doing is just trying to get your heel to the floor, right? But if you want to find a little bit more of a stretch, you got 2 options here. Option number 1, try to slide the leg back a little bit. Option number 2, maybe you tuck your tailbone under a little bit. See how good you can get that stretch to that outer hip area. Excuse me. Now that you're there, allow yourself to focus on pushing that heel downward to the ground. Make sure that your pelvis hasn't rotated backwards, so your upper arm is helping you with that. Let's stay here for 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths. So nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out, I feel that stretch
even more every time I breathe in. Let's do 2 more breaths. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now, stay where you are, but try to introduce some tension into the rectus femoris by bending your knee and engaging your hamstrings. So if your rectus femoris and your IT band and your TFL are really, really, really tight, that knee is going to pop up in the air. Really focus on trying to push that knee downward towards your yoga mat with your knee bent. Just 2 breaths here. Take a deep inhale in. Exhaling out. Is anybody sweating like I am? Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. You got it, guys. Straighten that knee again. Relax that pelvis. Slowly inhale, lift that leg up, and then as you exhale, place it on in and give that outer area of your left hip and pelvis and low back a break. Okay, so let's get up off this bolster. So bottom hand, push yourself up onto your elbow, top hand, nice deep inhale. On the exhale, push yourself straight up, and there you are off of your bolster. Okay, so move yourself off of the bolster. Now we're going to be going on to our belly. If you've got a lot of back issues, I would encourage you to think about using your bolster while you're on your belly. So what it would look like if you're using your bolster while you're on your belly is you're going to place the yoga bolster on your yoga mat, and you're going to place your belly and chest over the yoga bolster. Now, it's real important if you feel where your pelvis and your hip are, that they are below the yoga bolster if you're going to use the yoga bolster for this next activity to really target those rectus femoris muscles. So if you're in this position, by all means, stay here. Let yourself be able to stretch your pelvic muscle, that is a hip flexor, while at the same time not irritating your low back. If you don't have too many issues with your low back and you're like, I think I'll be okay, then just simply take your bolster, move it out of the way, and allow yourself to rest yourself down onto your belly. Now, as you're making your way down onto the belly, remember that little lasso, that loop that we made with our yoga strap? Now is the time to use it. So what I want you to do with that loop and that yoga strap is I want you to take the loop and put it up and around your right arch of your foot. So you've got control of your foot if you pull the yoga strap. Once you have yourself in that position, gently rest yourself down so that your belly is resting on the floor. Have it so that your knee is bent a little bit, but there's no tension in your leg yet. Place the strap up and over your right shoulder. Take your knees, and guys, this is so important. Take your knees and bring your knees together. Almost use your inner thigh muscles to squeeze your knees together. Then start to use your arms and slowly begin to pull the right heel towards your right buttock. Now, the goal is not necessarily to get the heel to the buttock. The goal is to find your edge. And your edge exists wherever, when you pull, as you pull a little bit more, you begin to feel either just a little bit of tension in your thigh or a little bit of tension around that kneecap. Don't pull beyond that. Not about trying to cause pain and inflammation into the knee. We're about trying to get some length to our hip flexor. So find where that position is for you as you pull your heel to your buttock. Now that you've got it there, squeeze those knees nice and tight. All right, now here's the big important part. Take a deep inhale, and then on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under as much as you can. Oh my gosh, do you feel it? Pull the heel towards the buttocks gently, squeeze the knees together, tuck the tailbone under. Can you hold all 3 components? Yes, and also breathe. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out.
Wonderful. Release the tuck of your tailbone in your pelvis. Now, for those of you that felt that predominantly in your knee or your kneecap, let's give ourselves a little bit of training of our quadricep muscles. We are stretching our quadricep muscles there as well. So allow yourself to fully straighten your right foot down. Once your leg is completely straightened down, take your right toes and turn them under. In that position, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, tighten your abdominals, tuck your tailbone under, and lift your knee up. So a little tiny bit of hip extension, but also some good quadricep work to kind of give that kneecap a little bit of a break. Hold yourself right there. Take a nice deep inhale in, keep squeezing your glutes and your abdominals, lift that kneecap up, exhale out. And one more time, nice deep inhale in. And slow exhale out. You've got it. Release the knee to the floor, take the top of the foot to the floor. Now, all we've got to do is take that loop that's on that right foot and transfer it to the left foot. So, easy way to do it, just simply reach back with your knee partially bent, unloop it, then take the loop to your left hand, gently bend your left knee, reach yourself slowly behind you, and loop it around the left arch of your foot. And we're ready to do it all over again. So in this position, once you have the loop around the arch of the left foot, take those knees and bring those knees together. That way you're getting that stretch to that tensor fasciae lata. Remember the outer hip flexor muscle? You're adding that stretch, you're adding that muscle to the stretch. Okay. Same deal as we did on the opposite side. So have the strap up and over your left shoulder. Then allow yourself to very gently start to bend your heel towards your buttock. Now, don't be surprised on one side if you can get further or less than the other side. Our bodies are all beautifully asymmetrical. Go to where you sense tension, not trying to compare yourself to the right side. So as you bend that knee, how close can you get that heel to that buttock and just feel a little tiny bit of tension, just a little bit, into that thigh and or kneecap area. All right, hold it there. Now, squeeze the knees together. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, tuck that tailbone under as much as you can, holding that stretch into your thigh, keeping it right there. Squeeze, pull, tuck, all three things. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. You've got it. Now, release the tuck of the tailbone, release the knees away from the squeeze. Slowly begin to straighten the knee. Now, for those of you that felt that in your knee or your kneecap, let's give that a little bit of break before we change positions. So in this position, just allow yourself to straighten the knee, take your toes and turn them under. Now with your pelvis and your abdomen, take a nice deep inhale. And then on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under, tighten through your abdominals, then lift the knee nice and high off the floor. Nice little training of your glutes and quadriceps here while you're using abdominals in a pelvic tilt. Hold yourself right here. Take a nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Release the knee downward, take the top of the foot and place the top of the foot on the floor. All right, now just simply allow yourself to bend up that left knee, take the loop of the strap away from that left foot, move your strap off and out to the side of you. We are done with that. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck those elbows in. Nice deep inhale here. Then on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Slowly sit yourself back, all the way back onto your heels. Anytime you spend time on your belly, for the sake of the facet joints, those are the joints on the back of your low back, always come into a child's pose or some version of a child's pose or even just cat pose if that works for you, just to gently open up through those back joints before you transition yourselves to another position. So rest yourself down. As you go there, can you check in that your knees and your feet and your hips are all in alignment? If you want to this time, maybe bring your arms nice and straight and allow yourself to get a little bit of a lat stretch. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. And one more time, nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Now just gently, slowly push yourself up on hands and knees, just long enough to turn yourself over onto your side. And then as you lay down on your side, roll yourself over onto your back. All right. So as we get ourselves into this position onto our back, we're going to do one more little stretch. We're going to do a figure 4 stretch for our hips. It does help a little bit of play of those outer hip flexor muscles. So get yourself in a position that you feel like your pelvis is nice and comfortable and flat, your shoulder blades are underneath you, your neck is long, your chin is settled into your throat. And then take your right knee up to your chest. Nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, pull that knee into your chest. Check in that your ankle and your knee and your hip are all in alignment. Now holding right here, take a nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Just one more time, nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. You've got it. Now, from here, take the right ankle, cross it up and over the left knee. Let the left knee fall out to the side. All right. Take your hands and bring your hands up and through, one hand through the legs, one hand to the outside of the left leg, and see if you can get yourself in a figure 4 position, modification of pigeon pose. Yes, you will feel this in your right buttock, but we're also doing it just so we can get a little bit of extra play through the outer front part of our hip. So now in this position, you have a few options. Option number 1, if you can't even reach the back of your thigh on the left side, please take that yoga strap that's somewhere near you, wrap it around it, and hold the yoga strap. Option number 2, grab your hands and hold the underside of that left thigh. Finally, a little bit more advanced, option number 3, take your hands and interlace them around the shin bone. But that's a lot of hip flexion. So you pick where you are today. Then once you get yourself there, right elbow on the right thigh, take a nice deep inhale and gently push the right knee out to the side. You've got it. Hold yourself right there. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Gently releasing wherever you are, placing the left foot on the floor, uncrossing the right leg, placing it on the floor, taking the left knee to your chest, hands around the shin bone. Nice deep inhale here. On the exhale, pull your knee into your chest. Check in that your ankle, knee, and hip are in alignment. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Deep inhale into your belly here. And then exhaling out. One more breath. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Now, left ankle up and over the right thigh. 3 options. Option number 1, take that yoga strap and bring it around that right thigh as you bring your right knee to your chest. Option number 2, take your hands, one hand between both legs, one hand on the outer side of the right leg, and hold behind your right thigh. Finally, option number 3, you can take your hands and interlace around that shin bone if you like. Again, this is the most advanced position. You pick where you want to be, wherever you are today. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, left elbow on the left thigh. Take a deep inhale in, and as you exhale, push that knee out. All right, remember, we're not stretching the hip flexors here, we're folding them. Take a nice deep inhale in the belly and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into that belly and exhaling out. And then slowly release the right foot to the floor, uncross the left leg. Bring both knees up towards your chest once you have them there, hip distance apart. Hands are on the thighs. Let's do a little bit of training of our core here, especially the deepest component of our hip flexors and the psoas muscle. It's actually part of your core, guys. So let's do one quick exercise to strengthen that component of our hip flexors. So have your knees just above your hips. Take your heels, drop them downwards. Take your toes, point them upward. Hands onto the thighs, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Shoulder blades are back and down. Take a nice deep inhale here, and on the exhale, lightly push your hands into your thighs and your thighs into your hands. And then lightly begin to use the palms of your hands to attempt to lift your thigh bones towards the ceiling. You've got it. Now feel that shaking that's happening. That's you strengthening those deep fibers of that psoas muscle that connect your legs to your trunk. Hold right here. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Beautiful. Relax that tension. Gently bring your knees to your chest. Take a nice deep inhale here, full fold of those hip flexors, and exhaling, pulling those knees nice and tight into your chest. Now, 2 deep belly breaths. Deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. And one more time, nice deep inhale into that belly and exhaling out. Wonderful. One leg at a time. Gently place your feet flat onto the floor. Then slide the right leg all the way down the mat. Take the left foot up onto the right thigh, right hand to the left knee, left hand out to the side of the body. Take a nice deep inhale here, and on the exhale, allow yourself to let that left knee fall to the right. Feel the stretch of the hip, and then that slow, gentle rotation of the pelvis, the low back, and the rib cage. Left shoulder blade down. Allow yourself to lengthen through your neck, settle through your chin. Gently turn your gaze to the left hand. Take a nice, slow, deep inhale into your belly here. And then exhaling out. One more time. Nice, slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. And gently unrotate the head. Starting at that shoulder blade on the left side, start to derotate your spine. And then gently put the left foot back down onto the floor. Slide that right leg up. When it's up, left leg is down. Right foot onto the left thigh, left hand. Reach for the right knee, right hand out to the side of the body. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, start to pull that knee across the body. Feel that stretch of the hip, and then feel that spine sequentially rotating. Pelvis, low back, rib cage. Keep the right shoulder blade down. And then once you get to that, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and turn your gaze to the right. Nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Slow deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Unrotating the head, starting at that shoulder blade and unrotating that spine. Placing the right foot on the floor. Allow yourself to slide your left leg up for a second. Take a moment to gently tilt the tailbone under, engage through the abdominals and shorten them. Just allows you to make sure there's no compression of your low back as you go into Savasana. Once you've got yourself there, slowly and gently, one leg at a time, lower it to the corner of your mat. Rest your shoulder blades underneath you. Gently drop your arms down and out to the side of your body. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take that tongue to the roof of your mouth, rest it there. Veils of the eyes, close them. And just let your body be still. And take a nice slow inhale into your nose. Open that mouth and just Just let that exhale go out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale into the nose. Open that mouth and just exhale it out. You got it. Just let yourself normally breathe. Let yourself be nice and still just for a few seconds. So much beautiful work to those 4 hip flexors today. Your knees feel better, your hips feel better, your back feels better. You did your body some good. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and do some circles with your wrists and your ankles, starting to wake up the ends of your body. And then when you feel like you're ready, one leg at a time, slide those legs up and then gently rotate yourself to your left or right side. Rest there for a second. And then a breath or two, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then on an exhale, bottom elbow, top hand, push yourself up into a seated position. As you get yourself there, find yourself in easy pose. Bet you it's easier to do this right now, right? Yeah. Bring your hands to the center of your heart and put a nice big smile on your face. Take a deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.